Hey, we're the Copper State Roadschoolers. Today we're turning history into a hands-on lesson here at the Cave Creek Museum. This is what homeschooling and roadschooling looks like, stepping outside the classroom and learning where the stories actually happened. Come explore with us. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to take you through a quick walkthrough of our first Copper State Roadschooler group field trip. This time we went to the Cave Creek Museum. When you first get there, the first stop in there is going to be their archaeological exhibit. They've got all kinds of cool stuff that was literally found in the area and replications of the types of housing that the Native Americans of the time would have constructed and used. We do have ruins all over the state of Arizona. Here you can see they have some original pottery. The building you're seeing here is a reconstruction, but they go through all the different plants in the area, what was harvested in the area, and there's lots of interactive stuff through the whole thing. My kids, it was hard to pry them out of these metates, where the Native Americans would have ground their corn and made flour. They also, when you come with kids, are going to give them a little workbook to kind of have this scavenger hunt through the entire museum. So we spent a lot of time in the archaeology, and trust me, there is pottery galore from all over the area. This particular one was kind of rare because it hadn't been completely filled in with dye, and you can still see the vast open areas of the clay versus the actual design. And there's all kinds of stuff. There's even there's different types of pottery from different tribes, different eras, different materials and such. There's even some old photos from the early 1900s when we still had some indigenous people in the area. This is the museum mascot. He greets you as you enter the historical portion of the museum, and this is where you're going to see the historical Cave Creek history, and you're going to see different stuff for different time periods through the Civil War. You're going to see a replication to scale of what the cave in Cave Creek actually looks at. It's on private property these days, so you can't really go see it except a couple times a year when it's open to the public, but the kids get an up-close kind of view of the size of it. There's also some different reconstructions of, Ferris wheels and different stuff. Their kids can actually get on a saddle if they've never been on one and realize like what it's like to, carry a saddle and a rope and all of that. Going back to our cave, now that we've got some kids cleared out of the way, but you can see it's really not a huge hole, if you will. It's just enough to kind of have some shelter from the elements here in Arizona. And then going through here, you've got some old Spanish saddles, and you go through when Cave Creek was founded, long before we became a state in 1870. In fact, when Cave Creek was founded, Arizona wasn't going to be a state for another 40-ish years, and so it's one of the oldest towns in Arizona. But we've got all kinds of cool stuff here. It's my boy George, he is a ham. And then we've got lots of Hollywood that used to come through the area. Cave Creek is also a mining town originally, and there was lots of gold in the hills, and so there's a few replicas of these types of mills throughout the museum. There's this one, there's one at the front. This is a really cool geological exhibit of what Black Mountain would look like if you split it open, which I really like. The top of Black Mountain is only about 3,600 feet, so sometimes we actually get snow there. They even have a small kind of classroom set up the way it would have been. Now, one of the things Cave Creek has, this is an old tuberculosis cabin or shack, and this is one of the only, or I think the only existing one that is still in Arizona. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. My kids were afraid. And then they had this really cool exhibit outside where one of the museum volunteers literally came out and taught them how to pan for gold. And a few kids actually did find a couple real flecks of gold. Now, of course, there's goodies and stuff hidden in it as well, but they literally learned how to kind of shake the pan the right way and how to sift and sort and tell what is what when you're looking in your pan, you know. So that was a really cool exhibit. I think probably the kids and parents all found this to be the best part of the entire visit. I had to pry my kids from it, and I know a lot of kids kept trying to go back and wanting to do that as opposed to look at the tuberculosis cabin or even the ore mining mill and stuff like that. So it was definitely cool. This is also another type of mill to grind up different size rocks. And there's kind of, you know, they can't go around all the way. But of course then, you know, a lot of kids just wound up going straight back to the gold panning exhibit. What can I say? It was like 75, 80 degrees and the water felt really cool to everybody. But definitely a highlight. What concluded our trip was going into the oldest church here in Cave Creek. It's a little chapel that still exists. They still have the original organ. Doesn't still work, but they still have a lot of stuff. And the cool thing is there's actually still people who meet in that church today, which I found fascinating. All right, that wraps up our time here at the Cave Creek Museum. Days like this are exactly why we love homeschooling and road schooling, learning history where it actually happened together. Before you go, drop a comment and tell us where you think we should explore next as a homeschooling and road schooling group. If you want to follow along on our future field trips and real-world learning adventures, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the road and in the classroom.